Well, Shoot 360 Louisville family, we're so excited to have Jonathan on with us today. He has been a staple in Shoot 360 across the country, and just kind of how that's been. And feel free to say hi and how we're doing.
Hey, what's up, everyone? Coach John here in Alabama. I do introduce myself as Jonathan, but that's a few too many syllables around the gym. But great to be on with you guys. Appreciate you including us. We're down here in Alabama. We love some Shoot 360.
No, we get plenty of it here. I mean, we've had some day one members coming in pretty much 7 days a week since we've opened. So it's basketball every day, all the time here, especially in the city of Louisville. And we just recorded a podcast. Go check it out, episode 10. Coach Blake and I were just kind of talking about the city of Louisville and the resurgence of Louisville men's basketball and what that's kind of meant for us here in the gym specifically, but as well just the city overall. And it's been a lot of fun to see. And we're just trying to be a part of that as well here at Shoot 360 Louisville. And, I'm sure you all do your part down in Alabama as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Shout out Peyton Siva. I need a Peyton Siva over here in Huntsville, but
Yeah.
I guess me and my coaches will have to do.
Yeah. Those national champions don't come around all too
I know,
often.
right?
So,
Just these
yeah.
perfect national championship runs. And oh yeah, he's a great guy. I've had the pleasure of meeting him.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So, Jonathan, one thing we've been able to talk about on this podcast is where both me and Will got our start. We've also had some guests and got how they've kind of started. Could you kind of go into detail about how you found basketball and how that became your love?
Yeah, I would love to. I definitely found basketball through my dad. So my dad loves basketball. One of those guys who grew up wanting to be like his dad, still trying to do that to this day. But before I could speak, I could tell how much my dad enjoyed basketball with me, and we shot basketball from the time I could walk, and we still do it together. And he still comments on how my shot needs improvement to this day, if I shoot around him. But we just, I mean, as soon as I could walk, we started shooting basketball. And that little tight skull we had when I was a kid, I think we've all had one of those. My dad claims that still had received the most practice shots out of any goal we've ever had. And we've had dozens, maybe hundreds of goals at this point through the businesses and everything. But I think from that point, I just really fell in love with shooting a basketball. I think there is just few things that are greater than the feeling of a basketball going through the net, especially if you're doing it in a game. Or I didn't get to do it in a national championship game, but I did it in some big high school games and things like that. And especially when you shoot a long range shot and there's that uncertainty of the ball in the air and you're kind of watching it and you just want it to go in so bad, and then boom, it goes right through the net. And to me, that is just an incredible feeling. And the first 20 something years of my life, that's what I was chasing, just trying to be the best at that. Had the privilege of playing a little bit of college basketball, just bounced around some D2 schools, nothing significant. But really got to know a lot of cool people. And I went into the engineering field out of college, kind of worked my way up the corporate ladder and decided, I wanted to jump into Shoot 360. And since then, it's just been about building a fun gym for kids to come in and hang out in and get to know friends and be around friends and be around coaches that have done it all. And I think, that's what I take pride in now, being an owner of a couple of Shoot 360s.
For sure. No, and I mean, it's been a really fun experience learning from a lot of different coaches and different people. You get so many people that come in here, whether it's Peyton bringing in some Louisville players, you have some really good conversations with them, or it's some of our staff who we've had some staff that have had the opportunity to play overseas professionally in the female and male game. And it's been good to kind of hear their experiences. And then we also have people like Dean in our facility who are coaches, didn't play in college, but coach at the highest level. And you kind of hear those experiences as well. And it's been really cool to see how Shoot 360 kind of integrates with that. So it's
Yeah, I mean,
awesome.
kids get access to this super cool tech, but these several of my coaches throughout both my facilities played pro ball. They played the highest level of collegiate ball, and you just get to walk in the gym and hang out with them. I remember my dad used to drive me to Atlanta once every 6 months to train with somebody like that, and they can just come in, on a daily basis and see those guys and get to know them and learn about what it takes. It's not just come in, practice hard. It's like, what did they do to get to the next level? So there's just so many cool things about what we do that I'm jealous that the kids get to benefit from.
Yeah, we definitely did miss out on some pretty cool things that Shoot 360 offers, and the professionalism and the insights, and then honestly, just the relationships that you get to have with some of these really talented basketball players and just people in
Mhm.
general. You're really impressed with how they did it and what they did, and it was all different, but it all ties back to some really hard work and taking advantage of some opportunities. So it's really cool.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah, well, and we know that you have, and how many locations do you all have down in Alabama?
I have two, one in Huntsville and one in Birmingham.
Okay, awesome. And just kind of going over your all's locations, what do you all kind of build that foundation on, or what have you built the foundation on down in your locations, in Alabama?
Yeah, we really pride ourselves in, of course, being a great basketball training facility, helping kids get better, make the team, really expediting that process. But we especially take pride in being a safe gym for kids to come hang out in, being around positive role models. I think that's the big difference for us here. It's just really, the word culture gets thrown out a lot, but we really focus on that. I tell people this story. When we first opened up Huntsville, nobody knew who Shoot 360 was. Like, what is this place? People are signing up their kids left and right. But if we had 20 kids here working out, we had 40 parents, felt like. Everybody was just kind of like hawks watching the kids, making sure things are going well. Now, a few months later, the kids are just getting thrown out into the car. They trust us.
Yeah,
They know that we're taking good care of them. They know they're getting better here. So that I think that I take the most pride in for sure.
no, that's pretty awesome. We see that here. We see parents lined up to the brim when they're first starting to bring them in, and about 2 weeks later, the coaches have become their best friends, and the parents.
Hmm.
They're in Norton Commons. We have a really good location here too, so a lot of parents are out going out getting dinner. They're leaving the kids here. It's like it's
Going to Publix, going to
yeah,
Target, right?
it's a training facility, but it's also kind of
Yeah.
like just a good environment to be
Yeah, when you
around.
see that start happening, you're doing something right.
No, and it's been a lot of fun being a part of that.
Yeah. And I like
John,
to talk trash. So every kid that comes in here, I've got a little special piece of trash we've been talking about, the past since we've known each other. It just makes it a lot of fun.
yeah,
For
we
sure.
love to definitely do the same thing, and especially if we play them on the one-on-one game, you can't lose to one of them because if they beat you one time, they're going to be talking about it for 3 months. They're not going to let
Oh yeah.
anybody hear the end of it. But one thing I wanted to know are there any people in specific at your time at Shoot 360 or working with Noah that you've really been able to see benefit from the technology? And are there any specific stories that come to mind?
Absolutely. Too many to count. We could do a podcast on just those type stories. You'll have to have my pops on sometime. But for the people who listen, I've been involved with the Noah Tech since I was an early teenager. So I've watched the evolution of Noah. I've watched, it go from just measuring your arc and you having to shoot straight on shots to it being a three-dimensional product that tracks arc, depth, left, right. And what I'm kind of repeating my pops a little bit here, but just to preface some of these stories, if you're not shooting the correct arc, depth, left, right, you will not reach full potential. And that we have the data and the research to support that at this point. I think there's been 2 to 3 billion shots tracked, so we know what the perfect arc is. We know if you shoot it too low, you're going to make less shots. You shoot it too high, you're going to make less shots. So I think having that confidence now is great. Um, and there's been a few players that I mean, it's really incredible. You can just walk in. I can walk in with a confidence and say, I can make you a better shooter right now. You know, you're shooting the ball too high. You'll never reach your full potential. So let's bring the arc down, put it in, get it into the splash zone. Once you get there, let's go for 45. Let's not just be in the splash. Um, so there's a few people that come to mind. There's a kid named Tucker down in my Birmingham gym. He's a kid who's going to play high level D2 basketball. He's already committed. He'll be a senior this year, but he really wants to shoot 40% from the three. And so we really dove in on the analytics of his shot. All right, Tucker, you tend to shoot it high and short. And then what's really uncanny about Steph Curry. I mean, you guys, I know you've seen Steph shoot, and my dad loves to talk about Steph. We all do, but Steph does not miss short. He is the best ever at never hitting the front of the rim. I tell kids all the time, if you see Steph at the front of the rim, you witnessed a tiny miracle. He gets the ball deep in the basket, and that's what the best shooters do. So we started focusing on that with Tucker. A lot of one-handed shooting, getting the ball deep in the basket. If you control your arc, you control your depth better. You stop hitting the front of the rim. Um, and then one thing I tell kids all the time that I really try to get this point across, and I did this with Tucker, is, hey, we want you to shoot. If you want to be a 40% three-point shooter, you've got to shoot 70% plus in practice. Really, I want you shooting 75%, Tucker, when you're in the gym. And he strives for that. As soon as you step on the court, I don't remember what the exact data is, but you lose 30 to 35% percentage points.
Yeah.
So strive for that in practice. Kids will come in and say, "Oh yeah, coach, I shot 50% from the three today at Shoot 360 in practice." And I was like, no, you didn't.
Yeah.
You really shot in about the 20s. We need you to get your percentages up.
Yeah.
So Tucker's been great. There's a lot of examples of kids. There's a girl named Cameron Russell who I love to death. Big basketball girl, didn't really have a place to go train. She's here, almost on a daily basis. She's going to get her 100,000 make here in a couple of weeks. And then there's just several guys in the college and pro level that this is just kind of a funny way to put it, but that owe Noah money. All right. So what I mean by that is, there's a guy who played at Tennessee a few years ago, got drafted in the first round. Can't remember the name, but he was shooting his arc in the 50s. And my pops come in, they started training with him, got his arc down to 45 range, and he got drafted first round, made millions and millions of dollars, right? Anthony Tolliver is a guy who's been around Noah a long time. He extended, I like to think he extended his career by increasing his 3-point percentage through practicing with Noah. There's just dozens of stories at this point. I think 29 of the NBA teams used Noah, and Noah's just the de facto standard. I mean, especially in the collegiate and pro level, it is just what you use if you want your shooting to be the best.
Shoot 360 family, our 3-on-3 league is starting here in December soon. Please get your signups in. We are looking forward to you all joining us for our first ever 3-on-3 league. It is age groups 4th and 5th grade. Please get signed up before December.
Just kind of going back to kind of what you talked about, and we've had a lot of kids in here where our biggest thing is what we like to use is when we have high profile guys come in here, whether it's Division I guys or pros that come in and get some workouts in. Every time they come in here and shoot, if they've never seen the technology before, they're just shooting and they're in the arc and they're in the depth and they're in the left right, and they've never even seen it before. They have no idea. They just have that shot, and you're like, hey, this person's doing it. You might want to get on that trend, because we've had kids push us back on this. Like,
oh yeah,
well, I shoot 70% and my arc is in the red, but I shoot at 70%, Coach Will. And I'm like, well,
do you want to shoot 80%?
Yeah, if the professionals are doing this, yeah. So
right. It's funny you mentioned that the greatest shooters of all time, and you can go watch the tape on Jordan and Bird and Ray Allen and all these guys that may have never shot on Noah before, but I can tell by looking at the tape that they're shooting at 45 degrees. So, the greatest shooters find the correct arc, maybe through repetition and things like that. But what obviously Shoot 360 does and Noah does is we can tell you how to adjust your arc right now, instead of you maybe finding the correct arc over years of training. We can skip that process and get you right in the zone. But it's funny you say that, William. As soon as you started to say those things, I was like, yeah, I see that all the time. And, you've got these guys that come in, they'll be 50%, all three in the green, right? 50% of the time. It's pretty amazing to see that.
No, it's pretty cool. And we had a kid. He led all of Synergy in catch and shoot 3-point percentage in the country a couple years ago. And we had a kid in here, and I mean, he lit up the splash zone. And again, it was one of those things, like, he was a thumb flicker. His feet were a little wonky, but he got his shot in the splash zone every time he did it. And you just kind of saw the transition. And then as he got on through his high school senior year, we kind of worked on some stuff like, hey, we're going to fix your feet a little bit. We're going to fix your rhythm a little bit, and went from 42% to 46%. And this was shooting 10 or 12 threes a game. And so it's just the testament of the technology and what you all have done to build that program it's truly special.
Yeah, I compare shooting to golf a lot. My brother played college golf, and he was trying to shave strokes off his game. So he's already a great golfer, right? He's shooting
Yeah.
par, but he's trying to get 1, 2 under par. And he would spend 6 months on one thing to shave that stroke, right? It's like that with shooting. You want to go from 42 to 46%, you got to focus on that one thing and then gradually increase your percentages. I think a lot of times kids can get, or adults or whoever can get a little content with what their percentage is. Like, no, you got to keep working. You
No.
absolutely got to keep working.
100%. I think 46 might be a cap out, though. I think that's you. If you're shooting that in the game, you're good to
Now
stay
you
where you're
maintain
at.
it, right? Now
Yeah,
you work to
yeah.
maintain
No,
it.
for
Yeah,
sure.
that's
Yeah.
right.
But no, I completely agree.
You've kind of talked about just how the beginning of Noah to where it is now, how it started with the art. Where do you really see the future of AI taking the training of Shoot 360, basketball, Noah in general?
Really good question. I have a little bit of inside knowledge, with my pops being the CEO over at Noah, and me being around it so long. But one really cool thing that Noah's working on right now, they've actually set up a human performance lab. So they are using force plates to actually track the biomechanics of shooting. So I think before long, I mean, Noah already has a working product, working prototype, but I think before long it'll be passed down to Shoot 360, and then we'll really know like what is the proper elbow angle or wrist angles, these type, where should our legs be to produce a better shot. For me, I talk a lot about how you catch the ball leads to a good shot, so I'm interested to see how if that's true or how much it's true. But so they are rotating NBA players through this performance lab, tracking their biomechanics. I had a kid that actually took by the NOAA lab not too long ago to track his biomechanics, and we're going to go back at another time to see the before and after. But I think that's really the next step. We all have a philosophy of how we teach shooting, and a lot of it's building a relationship with a kid that trusts you and him following a process that you love. But also, if I can put this kid in, put him in front of some cameras, and we track the angles, the joint angles, and we get the biomechanics of his shot, and then I line it up next to probably not Steph, but whatever great shooter is available to us. Then I can say, look, man, we've been talking about your elbow. It's been sticking out for 6 months. You just won't correct it. And we can't seem to get over this percentage hump. We can't seem to improve your shooting. Here's a great shooter. Here's what his elbow looks like. Here's what yours looks like. So do you want to take the next step or not? I think things like that are going to be really, really cool for the next step. I think a lot of it is, you guys shoot a lot in the gym. Arc is, fairly simple to understand, but depth is really difficult to master. Shooting at the same power each time. So I'm really looking forward to the load of the shot, how, your hips and your knees and ankles are involved, and the rhythm of your shot, right? It's kind of hard to teach rhythm sometime, but
Yeah.
I think that biomechanics part is going to be really something really cool we see soon that hopefully gets passed down to Shoot 360.
Yeah. That'll be
That
really,
sounds
really
awesome.
cool.
I've
Yeah.
heard of those just examples in like football. I mean, you look at just Josh Allen, for example, he was doing those same exact things in the football realm, and he completely changed his whole form and unlocked his
Hmm.
potential. And you see it in the golf realm. So it's awesome that's getting ready to hit the basketball realm.
Hey, it's cool. It's coming
Yeah.
too.
No, that's
Just
really,
gives
really
us more
cool.
ammo as coaches, right? When those, like William was saying, when those kids push back on us, like, well, I
Yeah.
don't know, this guy's a lot better than you, and here's how he does
Yeah, it makes us sound smarter too when you're
Right.
given when
Yeah.
you're given the answers to the test and they're like, well, how do you know? Well, let me worry about that. Okay,
Here's the answers to the test,
yeah, you just stay over
right?
there. All right, I got to
Uh,
keep my knowledge. I can't give too much away.
that's
No,
right.
but that's really, really cool. And I mean, I just kind of want to go back when you're talking about how you catch the basketball,
Hmm.
because for me specifically, when I think about shooting, for me, I'm a huge footwork. Like there's
Sure.
footwork for everything. And I know people know it, but a lot of people don't work on it. Like how you come off of a pin down or a flare or how you come out of a relocation or whatever. So footwork's
Hmm.
really important for me. I find that's the most important because it helps your rhythm as you're talking about. But how you catch the ball, I just kind of want to hear more about that and kind of what.
Yeah, yeah. I love talking about shooting, so just buckle
No,
up, right?
hey, I mean it's on the shirts. So
Yeah, yeah. Well, there's a couple of principles that are really obvious to me. At some point throughout your shot, and repeating a little bit of my pops here, but you have to get your elbow in under the basketball. Right. So you have to, if the best shooters of all time, I mean, their elbows getting under the basketball. There may be a few exceptions where they don't exactly do that, but those are highly skilled people that maybe don't need the best form, right? And that's kind
Yeah,
of hard to tell a kid like you're
it
not
is.
Sean Marion or these guys who shoot it kind of weird. Those are highly skilled people who didn't really need the best form. Okay, so let's just ignore those people. But I like for the wrist to be loaded. So if this is the perfect form here, I really like to mimic this as we catch it, so that I'm leading into that. So I really want a relaxed arm by my side. Okay, and I want my wrist loaded. A lot of kids get really stiff, and the really I talk about Steph a lot. Just he impresses me so much, and my little brother is a lot like this. Steph can shoot from half court, and it looks effortless. I don't know if you guys ever know. He'll shoot these long range threes,
Yeah.
and sometimes it looks like he's not even trying. He's the smallest guy out there. So he's got all of these things inside of his shot that are firing together perfectly. Okay. So I think if we're loaded and our hands are ready, and how we catch the ball is not necessarily just about hands. We want our hips and legs ready as well. So I'm big on being down and ready behind the basketball, to hopefully lead to a shot that works together all at once, with good rhythm. So a lot of shots get disconnected. Kids are standing up and then they've got to bend down, and maybe they fire their hands a lot quicker than their legs. So I just know if I can get them loaded into a good position, hopefully it leads to good results.
Yeah, we actually have a kid here in the city who he is one of the more talented players in the city, and he's young. He's a sophomore, and he I've had the pleasure of kind of working with him and coaching alongside with him. And he's like 6 foot, skinny as a pole, but the way and he can score it at the rim. He can do all of it, and he has early on Division 1 offers, whatever else. But I've told kids this because a lot of our kids that come in here go to school with him or the schools below him, the middle or elementary schools. Like, hey, that's a really good kid that you could be learning from,
Hmm.
because the shot is so, and he is 130 pounds soaking wet.
That
But
sounds like my little brother.
when the ball leaves
Uh,
his hand from 20 feet, 25 feet, 30 feet,
mhm.
nothing changes, and it is a flick. It is
Yeah.
everything works perfect in sync. And like it's funny because you can use a kid that everyone can see and everyone, but they get a little competitive juices going. Well,
Mhm.
I'm better than him. I can do it better. And I'm like, well, just use that for an example. Like, I mean, he does it that easy. It looks that effortless. Kind of take that and work with it. I'm not saying you got to be like him. I'm not saying you got to
Right.
whatever, but having someone like that, like you talked about with Curry, just that effortless
Mhm.
release, and it just looks like he does it 10,000 times
Uh,
a year. But
yeah.
yeah,
I'll
it
do a first workout with a new athlete at our gym, like we all do. Those recruiting visits when new athletes come in, and we'll be going through the shooting part of it, and you can just tell the kid's frustrated, and the parent wants them to do well. And but I'm in my back of my mind, I'm like, wow, this kid's got great rhythm. Yeah, his shot doesn't look great. It needs some form adjustments. The structure of it's not sound, but he'll be shooting in perfect rhythm. And I'm like, listen, you may not understand this, but you have a great foundation. You're catching the ball and you're releasing it smoothly. And I think that's a hard thing to teach, and some kids just have it and don't. But yeah, that's Steph's such a good example of just really, really great rhythm. Total opposite. He's a little bit. He's a one-piece shooter, right? Catches it one flow. Michael Jordan's a two-piece shooter. He brings that ball up high, then releases it.
yeah.
It just kind of depends on the type of athlete you have, but the one piece shooting threes, threes, threes is kind of the way that the game is going these days.
Yeah, well, that helps us out quite a bit. So it can keep evolving. If it wants to scoot back, we're ready for it too. We got the
Right.
multiple lines. So,
Yep.
but and just kind of going over, it's been great kind of get to talk to you about Noah. But where did Noah kind of start? What was that foundation like? Where was that idea cloud coming from? Because I mean,
Yeah.
I can only imagine sitting in the basement going,
It's a cool story. A couple guys out in California, some really bright guys. One of them was like a NASA rocket scientist. The other one was a very intelligent guy. A couple of them will be at conference this year, so
Okay.
I don't know if you guys will make it there, but just some really really bright guys. They're just standing around in their driveway one day, and their daughter's shooting it flat. Just like shoot it higher, shoot it higher. You're just wedging the ball in the rim. We need to increase the size of that rim. But of course, she makes a couple, and she's not really listening. And they're like, well, how can we get her to make an adjustment. So they actually did a little, napkin math there in the driveway and taped a rake to a ladder and said, shoot it over this rake. Okay. So, so that is the original concept for Noah is shooting over a rake attached to a ladder in the driveway.
There we
And then
go.
from that point on, and this is, 20, 25 years ago. So vision technology is nowhere near what it is today. They said, well, if we get a camera and put it off to the side, kind of perpendicular to the shot path, we could track that ball in the air, plot it, and then come up with an entry angle. So then they created a prototype product that you could only shoot straight on. So the product I trained on, until I stopped playing competitively, I could only shoot straight on. So you had to be straight on this machine, and that's when my pops and some of these Alabama engineers got involved and made it a three-dimensional product you can shoot anywhere on the court, and then also introduced depth and left right. So Noah used to just only have arc, and then when he introduced depth, that was a game changer for me because I couldn't get off the front of the rim. So I would just turn the arc off and go for 11 inches deep in the rim, right? And then they introduced facial recognition. So these pro products actually, instead of Blake having to be checked into his profile at Shoot 360, it would just recognize Blake's face and sync up his data with his profile. So it's really come a long way.
Yeah, no, it definitely seems that way. I mean, the calibration is definitely important too that they have on there, and
Yeah,
making sure that you're calibrated and it's not just for a 6'3" kid, but even when you're 4'5" or 5'6", you're getting the right shot and the right arc
right.
and depth and left to right read for you, and that's been really important here in our gym, and we can't stress it enough for our kids.
Yeah, absolutely. I think some people are like, well, if you're 7 foot, you don't need to shoot at 45, because you're just kind of throwing it over into the rim. Well, it's just as important.
Yeah, no, for
Doesn't
sure.
matter if you're 5'2" or 7'2".
Well,
Are
now
there,
how basketball goes, if you're 7 foot, you're shooting it now. So
Yeah, that's right.
are there any pieces of feedback that you've received from either a player you've worked with or coaches you've had around that's really put in a change into Noah's system?
I really think the realization of how important depth is made a really, really big difference and was kind of tracking arc, all that was game changing, the most innovative thing that's happened. But incorporating depth into the tracking has been a big game changer. And you guys can go watch the NBA tonight, and kids can go watch a high level college game, and those players are nicking the back of the rim or swishing it. There's just not much front of the rim. They're just shooting the ball deep in the basket. So I think incorporating that and incorporating that ideal depth of 11 inches past the front of the rim. Obviously, the rim's 18 inches in depth, 0 being the front, 18 being the back. You want to shoot the ball just past center of the rim. I think that's been to me, one of the bigger discoveries and innovations that Noah's brought to the table. Like I said, the best shooter of all time does not miss short. If we could all take a lot away from what, we can mention stuff 1,000 times on this podcast, and I can mention different names, but the best shooters don't leave it short. So I think that one's been huge, Blake.
Yeah, as a Houston Rockets fan and the apex of seeing Steph go against the Rockets, you talk about never seeing. He always at the bottom of the rim and it never bottom of the net every single
Yeah.
time. So
Just watch it go in, right?
now, are you more of an NBA guy or a college guy?
I would say, I would say I like watching the kids play more. I've
Okay.
never been a huge watch basketball guy. I know that sounds crazy. I just love to play so much. But to answer your question directly, definitely college, just because Auburn's been so great. I'm an Auburn
Okay.
grad, so that's been nice, especially with our struggles with football that continue this year. But I do enjoy watching college, but I really, really like going out and watching the kids play. I'm like, a crazy uncle up in the crowd.
Oh yeah. I mean, we try and get out as many games as we can, and it's always fun to watch the progress and just watching the joy that the kids have. And, if they aren't really having fun and it's a struggle, that they're coming to you next week.
Mhm.
You can sit down and have that vulnerable conversation of, hey, what's going on? What are you seeing? What are you feeling out there? And what can we
Yeah.
work on to make you
Also
better?
know if they shoot a 3 from the logo, it might have been for the coaches.
Yeah, we
Right.
definitely encouraging free spirit when it comes to
Uh,
shooting. Some coaches around here might not really appreciate what we're doing.
right. Well,
The good.
small college basketball story for you guys. You might find this interesting. Not last year, but the previous time Auburn made it to the Final Four. I don't remember how many years ago it was. 7 or 8 years ago, whatever it was. Auburn played Virginia. So Virginia is one of the early adopters of Noah. Tony Bennett's, a friend of my dad, just a really great coach, all in on Noah from the beginning. And I don't know if you remember this game, but I'm an Auburn grad, my dad's an Auburn grad, my brother's a big Auburn fan. We're at the game, but also Auburn's playing the best Noah customer, just one of our favorite Noah customers, right? So it gets down to the end of the game. There's a weird foul. Virginia goes to the free throw line, wins the game on free throws. And my dad and I, especially my dad, we just got these mixed emotions. Like, wait, this could have been Auburn's only national championship appearance ever. But also, shout out to Virginia, who's a great no user, and really showed that off in this game. And so, anyways, that was just a interesting and fun experience. Man, we wanted it bad for Auburn, but there's a little bit of a consolation prize there.
Yeah, just a little bit. It definitely makes you
Just
feel
a
good
little bit.
though. But we have. I don't know that Louisville has adopted the NOAA technology into their facility, but I know that the University of Kentucky does.
Oh yeah.
And I'm sure. Is there any kind of stories that you might have on that, or did Calipari? Did he? I mean, I don't know where that came from for him or
Yeah,
who started it, but
as soon as he went to Arkansas, he bought another one.
okay,
So it becomes a part of practice, and it becomes not just like a gun, a rebounder. It's not just something we use and have laying around. It becomes like this is something we have to track our players' progress and make sure that they're on a correct path. It just becomes a necessity. But I don't know originally about Calipari why he got it, but one thing that Noah sees a lot is guys transfer, especially NBA. They get hired by a different team, they sign with a different team, and they come in and say, "You really don't have Noah here? What's going on?" And then they have Noah a couple days later, right?
yeah. No, I mean,
When you
well,
pay.
Kentucky's the hotbed. I think Blake would know this more. Are they 25% of the players in the league are from Kentucky? Is it that high?
Wow.
And I
I,
mean, last time we looked, it was about
I
30
know it's
players,
high.
30 to
I'm
40
not.
players.
Yeah.
Oh my
I mean,
goodness.
it's a
Yeah.
lot.
Something's working, right?
Yeah, there's something in the water down there that Louisville
Yeah.
hasn't got to drink yet,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Well,
But
I see they made a hire or promotion with a guy with what we love, so
yeah,
maybe they'll get on that path. It's been cool to watch them, the past few years. But yeah, it just I tend to root for about every team has Noah now, but I think one cool thing that we're starting to see are these it's a Noah product, but they have splash, kind of like a splash board in their gym now. Auburn just installed this huge LED that takes up about the size of this back wall. So as players shoot, they can see all their stats. They have this big rim map, and if you know me, I love the rim map. So it shows exactly where that ball enters the rim. You see patterns of I'm missing left from the right corner. Or I'm shooting really good from the top of the key. What am I doing there? How can I take it to my misses in the right corner? So that's been really cool. Those are a lot of those out there. Those are really picking up popularity.
yeah, no, it's fun to see like when you're scrolling through and you see on social media, you can see the little splash zone and the rim in the background of some of these NBA teams, and you're like, hey, I know what that is, and a lot of people don't
Yeah.
know what that is. So it's
Retweet.
it's pretty cool, yeah, for sure. No, but I mean, it's been really cool just kind of get to hear some stories and uh, I mean, what Shoot 360 has been able to do overall has been just revolutionary to basketball itself. Do you have anything that you kind of see or you can see Shoot 360 moving forward to or developing over these next 5 years? We've kind of talked about Noah, but where do you kind of see Shoot 360 taking those next steps?
Yeah, I think There's a lot of different things I see for Shoot 360. It's what I think about, all day, every day.
Yeah.
But mainly, Shoot 360 is going to continue to grow. I believe there's, somewhere between 50 and 60 locations now. When I opened up Huntsville 3 years ago, I believe we were location 24. So it's growing really fast, and I think that
Yeah.
ramp is getting is accelerating even more. But I really believe that just taking this incredible technology and adapting it to kids and getting them on a path early is the biggest difference they can make. We have 6, 7 year olds coming in here like, you know, how can this kid can he really, make the change and benefit from the technology? And then he starts to understand, well, I just got to get it in the green. It's not like, Dad, my entry angle is not proper today. It's no, let me get in the green on the splash meter. So I think, where Shoot 360 will continue to do well is just taking that high level tech and passing it down to kids that are getting started on their basketball path and just making it fun for them. One thing I think we do really well is keep it fresh. There's a lot of pressure on these kids sometimes to do well, and parents play college and pro ball, and that wasn't really when I was a kid. There weren't a lot of parents that play college or pro ball. It seems like more and more prevalent these days. So it's intense, but they to come in here and train hard, and then also play, have a little fun. I'm really excited about what Shoot 360 is doing to connect Shoot 360s across the world competitively. And I think they just one of the coolest things for me is filling a void for kids who maybe have phased out of competitive ball but really still love basketball. So I see a lot of focus there in the future too.
Well, that's good. And, before we kind of wrap up today, is there anything that you kind of want to leave some people that'll see this at your two locations and you kind of want to say hi to anybody, or anything
Yeah,
you kind
yeah.
of want to leave for the people here at Louisville, or anything
For
coming
sure.
as well?
Well, you can leave this for Louisville. The trophy will never return. So you can pass that along to everybody there in the John
Well, we
John
got to get
Brown.
it to you first. I don't know
Shout out
if.
Dean. I knew he'd take his time. I took my time sending it to Louisville, but
Yeah.
but at the end of the day, happy people make a happy gym, and I have some really incredible staff, and these facilities would be nothing without them. Rod Grace, he's my GM here in Huntsville. He started out as a coach. He's now the culture driver here. He makes this place fun. He's really, really doing well. DJ Felder, shout out DJ. He's our head trainer here in Huntsville. Also been with me since day one. So really cool to see that. We also have an awesome assistant manager. Shout out Ray. She's really brought our girls program to the next level. And then down in Birmingham, same thing. Tony Gallagher, I stole him away from Illinois. He's a Shoot 360 guy who's been around for a while. And then Marcus, he's also been with me since day one. So it's just you never bat a thousand, but we're really happy about our culture here, and that just the people that have stuck around this long and have put up with me for this long, right? But at the end of the day, this is a fun place to be, and our staff takes a lot of pride in that.
No, that's amazing. And is there anything big coming up for your all's locations? Any big academies coming up, tournaments, et cetera? Anything coming up that you kind of want to let the people know about?
Good question. Here at Huntsville, we're having a trunk or treat
There
on
we go.
Halloween. So excited
Nice.
about that. I think my wife, I have twin 1 year olds. They're getting close to
Okay.
2 now. So we're going to be
Wow.
doing Lilo and Stitch. So I'll probably end up being the fat alien guy. And then we have our 3 year open house coming up here at Huntsville. So we've been open 3 years here in a couple of weeks, and a lot of similar things going on in Birmingham. A lot of fun camps coming up. We've partnered with the Squadron down in Birmingham, the Pelicans G League team. So we'll be at those games a lot, seeing our members, showing our face there. There's Shoot 360 challenges do it throughout the game. But yeah, also Shooters League season 3 is coming up in January. Big shout out to that. That's just a lot of us central locations. That's what we keep talking trash about. Louisville won season 1, Huntsville won season 2. And just a funny side story about that. Sorry to keep you guys, but
No, no
one of
worries.
my teammates is my brother, who's a better shooter than me, and it absolutely tears me apart.
I mean, I could tell
Better
that was hard
better
to
basketball
say. That
player,
was pretty hard to
yeah.
say.
And also he's good at golf, and that's the sport we'll play the rest of our lives. So I may not beat him at a sport for the rest of our lives, even though I think I was better at all the sports. But anyways, all right. So he's really good. And then my teammate Frankie Sullivan played at Auburn, played overseas pro ball, outstanding athlete. And we're sitting there at championship night of season 2, and we're like, dude, I am nervous right now. I'm like, what an incredible feeling.
Yeah.
We're back playing basketball. I'm wanting to perform at a high level. So I think the leagues are just a blast to play. And, we've got Frankie, like I said, he's done everything as far as basketball is concerned, pumping his chest, and we're chest bumping and high fiving like we're, playing for the state championship or something. So yeah, it's just fun, man. And I'm just glad that, we have something for the adults to get in here and compete at, who maybe don't want to go run up and down the court and risk injury. I think we're all at this point, if you're my age, scared of some Achilles rupture or something like that, right? So, but yeah, looking forward to more league play coming in January.
No, for sure. Well, Jonathan, we really appreciate having you on, and it was a pleasure and it was a blast. And hopefully we can get you back on here and continue to talk and maybe talk to some of your coaches at the location as well. And we just want to continue to grow this, and we just really appreciate you guys, and we want everyone at your location to see this as well as ours, and continue to learn and grow, not just basketball, but grow our character and what we can learn from everything. So we really appreciate it.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate you having me. This is a cool thing you're doing. I've got several people I could line up for you, and maybe they'll say some nice things about me, but who knows? But I appreciate you having me. Really, this kind of speaks to the culture of Shoot 360 and who we are. That you guys have started this and are keeping it going. So, wish you the best of luck, and let's talk soon. And see you in Shooters League in January.
Yeah, sounds good.
Thanks for joining us. We appreciate it.
All right, thanks, Blake. Appreciate you guys.
Yeah.